Hi everyone, my name is Colette Nourie and I am a music director at Universal.
I'm McDonald and I'm a music director at Universal.
I'm Alyx Peterson. I'm a senior designer at Universal.
I've always really been drawn to storytelling through music. I think that this job kind of perfectly lets me do that.
For me, it started when I watched The OC as a young teenager, and I was like, the music was like everything. I was like, who does that? That's a job. How do I do that?
Yeah, how do I get there?
Because like it did enhance the stories, kind of like you were talking about. If a song doesn't take you out of the scene, then like it's doing its job.
I grew up in a very creative household. Like we were always doing arts and crafts. In high school and college, I had really strong like design programs, graphic design programs, so it kind of fell naturally. But I think what made me pursue a career in it was the mentors that I had. My professor, she was always like a sounding board for ideas, and we thought very similarly. She was really encouraging, to graduate with such a high female density cohort and then to get into the real world and learn that there's not a lot of representation.
Music industry overall is male dominated, but I would say sync, I feel like there are more female leaders and women who have been in the industry for the past like 20 years, especially like there's like a lot of independent female music supervisors and like people who are on the board, the guild, who are female, which gives me like hope.
Having the rich mix of different voices and different perspectives in general is really powerful and advantageous to like people and the culture and everything. And so specifically with women, I feel like we've heard so much from men, for centuries. To add, either whether it's music from female artists or female writers or, female music supervisors in the space, I feel like it's so impactful in a different way, and I think it can shine light on kind of just the process and the richness of our experiences and what we can bring to the table.
I feel like when women's stories are being told in film and TV, there's like an opportunity to authentically help tell that story, like you said, by using like female, like written music, produced music.
And women can draw on their own experiences. Like I know for me, if I'm choosing a song for a scene that highlights female leads or characters, I try to get in the headspace of like, what are they thinking? Like, how are they feeling? What's the context for that? Because there's always a creative direction that you get, but at the core of it, I'm always kind of looking at the story.
Maybe a stereotype about production music is like you're just pumping this out for random types of media, but I think when you're creating with a purpose and a goal in mind, I think the production is more authentic and the product is more authentic.
And so much thought and care is put into these releases. Like you can tell when you listen to them. It's not just, we got a cast of women to make this album.
Yeah.
Here you go, it's made by women. It's like they've cultivated the creative atmosphere to make, things that clearly worked creatively and like came out to something really amazing.
When it comes to like a female empowered month, I don't change like what I'm designing for that. It's just more the messaging of like what's the underlying tone.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at something, if someone's looking at something that's Women's History Month, they don't need it to be pink. They don't need it to say her story.
Right.
Like, someone might be into that, but and no shade to them. But I think just what you said about your perspective and that your style is a certain way is like, yeah, of course. Like, just because you're a woman, it doesn't change or like pivot your style into like a certain aesthetic.
I feel like there is still a stereotype around in corporate, I would say, that like women will have a certain kind of taste or a certain way of reacting to things or approach to things. And I think that women are so diverse and like you're saying dynamic that there isn't just this like one line that we're all on. We have a shared experience of being a woman, but there's so many facets.
And like in this industry where women have such a small like share, no matter how much confidence you have, you're still constantly proving yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
Like being fortunate enough to be on an all-female team and like supported by women creatively, when you still hear those statistics, you're like, oh, okay, so this is like underlying issues in the industry of lack of representation. So
as more and more women get into the field, hopefully, that there's ripple effects, right? There's less of that barrier to entry. There's not the competition or the proving yourself aspect. I mean, we all want to succeed, but hopefully, I hope that from that comes women lifting up other women.